look at these slices here. We'll try these. My God. Oh, this won't last long. Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Ken Johnson. So today we're going to do deer meat two different ways. And so what I'm doing is a old Parthian recipe for a marinade that's normally used on chicken, fish, and pork. The Parthian dynasty, they were an empire that was very near to Rome. They existed during the Roman Empire. And so this is a version of their marinade that I love. And then I've got a variant of my dad's old recipe. Now, what I've done with my dad's recipe is I've changed it up to make it mine. And so I've added some stuff that Dad probably wouldn't have used, or I mean, he had access to it, but he wouldn't have used it. So it's got some of my flavors, some of his flavors, very similar to Dad's though, all in all. And I think this is going to be a good battle. Stay tuned. For this first marinade of the deer, what I'm going to do is put in 1 cup, or roughly about 228 milliliters of red wine. You can use red or white wine. I'm going to rinse out my cup with about 1/3 of a cup of water, about 75 milliliters of water. This right here is asafoetida. So I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of asafoetida in here. It's got a very pungent smell. One of the names for it is devil's dung. It stinks to high heaven, but gives a wonderful flavor in your cooking. Next, we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of caraway seed. Now I've got a handful of celery leaves. Just toss them in like that. We'll call that about 1/3 of a cup. You don't just grab some. We're going to do 1.5 teaspoons of peppercorn medley grinder from McCormick's. Has pink peppercorns, black peppercorns, white peppercorns, green peppercorns, allspice, coriander. It's a really good blend. I like it. Next, we're going to have 1/4 cup or 50 milliliters of fish sauce. Alright, so now that we got all the ingredients for our Parthian marinade going, our ancient Roman era marinade, what we're going to do now is bring this up to a boil. I'll then reduce it down to a simmer until all of the alcohol is evaporated. That'll probably take about, I don't know, 6-7 minutes. And then I'll taste it. If I need to add water, I'll add water. I'll tell you how much water I'll add, and then we'll let it cool down so that we can add it to our deer meat for our marinade. So this is part 1 of the marinade, doing my old school version versus this ancient Parthian recipe. One of the ways you can tell this is done is when you inhale the steam, it doesn't burn your nose. If it has any alcohol in it, it'll burn your nose. You'll feel the burn from the alcohol. So that alcohol is gone, it's ready. I'm going to turn it off, and we'll give it a quick taste test and then adjust any water that we need to adjust with. I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of water, or roughly about 125 milliliters of water. That right there, it's just a little bit too salty, but not too much, so I don't want to take away the salinity, because you know you need that in your marinade Now we're going to let this sit. I'm going to put a lid over it and let it cool down. Right, now that it has cooled down, time to take an immersion blender and puree all this up. Alright, we're now done with that. Alright, this is a piece of a deer ham, about 3 pounds worth of meat. We're going to add in our marinade, and I added roughly about 1/3 of a cup of water extra, just kind of rinse out the pot. Squeeze the air out of this gallon Ziploc bag, and now we're going to let this chill. It's supposed to storm tomorrow, so, well, it is almost midnight now. So we'll let this chill and probably put it on Sunday, because it's Friday night now, or actually Saturday, almost Saturday morning. It's about midnight Friday though. For our next marinade, I've got a cup of water, or roughly 225 milliliters of water in our pot. Threw in 2 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of Lian-Perrins, 1.5 teaspoons of peppercorn medley grinder, and a 1/2 cup of soy sauce. Just in case you want to know, a 1/2 cup is about roughly 115 milliliters. Finally, 1 tablespoon of herbes de Provence. Okay, I got another piece of meat. It's roughly about the same weight. It's just shaped a little differently because it's from a different part of the ham. It's flatter, so it may change how it absorbs. The other one was more rounded, higher, dense. This is real flat and narrow, so it should take the marinade better. That's the reason why I'm using traditional on it. So we'll put the next one in, the traditional. Now, like the other, we'll seal it up and press the air out of it. Both of these will now go into the refrigerator for roughly about 24 hours. So, see you then. Alrighty, so we're at the smoker. Got some coals going over here. If you remember from my turkey smoking video, my chuck roast smoking video, or my burnt ends, my poor man's burnt ends video, or my roasted corn video, you probably have heard me say time and time again that this is an inherited smoker. So I got this when my father passed away. This was his. Don't think he did much cooking on it. He did a little bit. That is the firebox. It's mostly meant to be used as either a grill or a smoker, and problem is it's a cold smoker, so if you want it to have any type of heat here, you have to have fire or coals here and here. So that's what I'm doing. I've got some I always use Chinese tallow, what we call a popcorn tree here in Florida. It's an invasive tree, so I always use that. And so we're going to put the deer meat on this. Alright, so this right here is the traditional. Okay, it's a little flatter. It's over here closest to the smoke, but both of them have got about the same amount of heat. I may turn them around every once in a while because there's no heat in the center. This right here is the Parthian. This right here is the Roman era marinade. All right, I normally use white wine, but I decided to use red wine. Gave it a kind of a purplish color. I probably would use white wine with this, but I thought it could stand up to the stronger flavors of the red wine. So we're actually going to see if this does better with the red wine. So both these have coals and heat going. Also has a little bit of wood. I always smolder my wood, so I use wet wood. It's been raining the last 3 days, so it's nice and wet. I'm going to put some wood right here inside the firebox, and we're going to get this smoking. As is par of course with this smoker, when I do it like this, it stays right around 225 degrees more or less. Does pretty good when I put the fire on each side, and so it's at a relatively high smoke. It'll drop down a little bit. It'll drop down probably next hour or two, and then I'll have to kind of revive it a little bit. Every smoker, every grill has its own flaws. There's no perfect smoker, no perfect grill. So realize that you've got to do what you got to do for your specific unit. So everything's going to be different. You basically check for internal temperatures and doneness, and you give it the time that it needs, and you do what you need to do for your smoker. So this is not a how to do. This is how I do, and it's how I do it on this smoker. If I was on a different smoker, I might totally do it a different way. So just be aware of that. There's no hard and fast rules when you're smoking and grilling like this. Alrighty, it's looking good. Alright, we're about, I don't know, 225, something like that. So we're doing pretty good. Check on the meat. That meat is looking very nice. I'm going to turn it just so that one side doesn't get all the heat. So like this side right here is getting all the heat from this side, but this got nothing right here. Same thing, opposite side. This side has got heat, this side hasn't. So flipping them around will help keep it all even. Alright, so what I did is I put just a few coals in the center part, because that other side was just solid cold, and the other one was hot, and same thing, one side was cold, one side was hot. So I got some coals in the center just to keep it warm, not hot. And then I got this side and that side back fired up, and it spiked up to 400 degrees because there's fire and everything. Now that I've got it cracked over here, got just a little bit of air, just a little bit of air, and with that, now it's going back down. It's going back down, I'd say about 275, a little less than 275, and it will rock like this probably for about another hour and a half. The meat's already trying to come apart, so I don't want it to get so hot that it will come apart, because we're going to cut it cold. That's the thing. So when I temp it, I'm going to temp it out, and I want it to be to where it's not just fall apart. I want it to be cooked but cohesive, because we're going to do thin slices, and I need that to be cold so I can do thin slices. Alright, so I temp these. They're running about 140, which I want them to be about, I would like 160. That'd be about where I want them. So what I did is I took a few coals, not many, just a few coals, because the tops were cooler than the bottom. Bottom, it gets more heat in the bottom than it does on the top. So I went ahead and got some coals on there, and I'm going to go ahead and close this lid and try to get this where we can get the temp up just a little bit and get this up to about 160. So they've only been on for about 3 hours, so that's not bad. That's not bad at all. This is a very quick smoke. It's about 7 o'clock and these have temped out, so we're going to go ahead and take them off. Well, this thing, this blade is probably, I don't know, it's about as old as I am. But we've got our traditionally marinated piece of deer meat. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it on this little sliding rack right here, just so we got a better cut going along the base. I'm going to take and cut this right here. And then cut this right here. Don't worry, this will not go to waste. I know it looks like it's going to waste, but it's not. This will actually go into a burgoo that I'm doing. So. Alrighty. So we got this all cut up. There is a piece right here that we'll cut that up into pieces for burgoo and things of that nature. But look at these slices here. We'll try a piece. My God. Oh. This won't last long. Tasha probably won't get some of this. Man. Very good. Very, very, very good. This is a little bit different than my dad's marinade. But I think my daddy would be very proud of this. He would have thought I did a good job. This is good stuff. Now let's try the Romanera stuff. I have a feeling this is going to be good too. This is really good. It's going to be hard to beat. Friends, Romans, give me your deer. I'm going to cut the end off of this real quick and we'll see how this goes. Alright, so this is a slice here. Let's give it a shot. This is a lot milder. I didn't expect that. I actually prefer the contemporary. Usually this marinade is killer on fish, chicken, pork. I use it in roasted applications. And I use white wine. But in smoking, I'm just letting it sit. And maybe it's because it was a thicker piece of meat than the other, so it wasn't apples to apples. But just doing a comparison, the smoke didn't penetrate the meat, not like it's supposed to. Marinade did not penetrate the meat. The meat was purple, which you can't tell that, but I mean, it's got a wonderful smoke ring. Normally it's salty, savory, has all the right notes, but this marinade, for whatever reason, it just didn't do it. Huh. Tastes like I didn't put anything on it. And it marinated for a long time. Just goes to show the thickness of the meat, type of meat, all that can impact your, what your end product is. I like sliced smoked meat more than I do like pulled pork. I know that's blasphemy, but I think you get better flavor out of sliced meat than you do pulled meat. And in this case, I just don't get that flavor. This is a piece of the end. This is a piece with the marinade. I want to see just how it tastes. I got some herbal notes, some mild wine notes, but really not much or nothing. This was a shocker. I expected this marinade to win hands down. It didn't. The contemporary version won by a landslide. Shocker. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now, yes, the contemporary Dad's version, my version of Dad's version, it won. Of course, my dad was a good cook. He was a former fireman. And please ignore the helicopter. It's hard to avoid helicopter traffic. We have military bases all the way around us. But anyway, Dad was a fantastic cook, so he knew flavors, and so I just added a few extra little ingredients here and there that really doesn't make that big of a difference, but I like those flavors. But I was very amazed that the Roman era Parthian recipe, the marinade, didn't hold up. I'm surprised. I'm blown away. And so I had a taste tester, and they was like, nah, your dad's recipe is better. So there you go. My wife, she's about to come in, so I'll let her taste test it, but I'm pretty sure she's going to say dad's better too. She kind of liked dad's cooking. She likes mom's cooking, so I'm sure she would gravitate to those flavors. And I definitely gravitated to it. The other one just was too muted. It was way too muted. It needed way more punch to it than what it had. I will say that I didn't temp it off what I said I was going to do. It's getting late in the day. The one that was the flat one, Dad's version, it temped out right. It temped out really about 150, more or less. And then my big one, I don't have a instant read thermometer. It takes forever. So I'm saying that's the reason why I said more or less. The other one, it temped out about 140, 145-ish. So once it hit about 143, somewhere in that mark, and I was hitting different areas on it, I said that's good enough. So it wasn't cooked as much, but it's at the temperature you would do a roast beef, so I'm fine with that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Please give it a try. Let me know what you think about it. If you want to help out the channel, I am now a brand ambassador for Fiabook. So Fiabook is the shirt that I got on. If you hadn't seen that video where I've done the review of Fiobach. You need to see that. But I'm now brand ambassador. That means that I get a small commission off of all the sales. So you can use code KenJoe882 at the link down below, and that will give you 20% off. And you can get you, this is the best, most comfortable shirt I've ever worn. And I think that you would be very happy with it. Any shorts, underwear, pants, whatever. They're fantastic. Fiobach's got you covered. And if you use KenJoe882, you will get 20% off. And I think you'll be happy that you bought something from them. Like I said, this is the best t-shirt I've ever owned. But do give this recipe a try, especially the contemporary version. I've got the recipe in the description. I also got the Parthian recipe in the description. It's fantastic with chicken, fish, pork. I would use white wine when doing chicken, fish, and pork. Red wine kind of gets a little bitter sometimes. And with something that light, you really don't want that. So I would say white wine with that. Trying it with deer didn't work, but it would be a great marinade for anything else, especially baked applications. But other than that, if you like this video, you may like this video up here, or that video right there. And down below, YouTube has a video based off of your viewing preferences that they think that you might like of my content. And the reason why I bring that up is because this video is over with. Bye.